This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. 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 The Foundation. The Foundation.
The Foundation of Hard Grants is brought to you by Alive, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, the Digital Transformation Unit, and Wendy's.
The Foundation. The Foundation.
Foundation. It's the foundation. Foundation. So it's the foundation. Foundation. So it's the foundation. Foundation. So it's the foundation.
It's the foundation that's rocking the nation. Howard Grant's the host, Guardian Radio Station 96.9, 12 to 2 is the time. You can call the show or use the text line. Yeah, he educates, he informs. He goes against the norm. He's really got that zeal. Plus, he's a child of God.
Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I kind of got it right the first time. Talk to me. I mean, sometimes we forget about the fact that there has been sort of a weekend out there, right? An extended weekend. Yeah, I hope you guys had a good time yesterday. We had a wonderful time, great teaching in church on Sunday. Had an opportunity to be able to go in there. Really enjoyed that. And yesterday we just kind of did our thing, kind of chilled. I'm hoping that you had a wonderful weekend. So I say good afternoon to all of you, and I just pray that you're still alive and living and strong out here. You're in the land of the living, so you have to be able to give praise and continue to be able to move forward. Well, it is Tuesday, May 30th. We are in the last few seconds of the first half. And kind of getting into the second half. I'm hoping that you're prepared for that to kind of make some things happen. I'm glad to be with you today. Make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. We always talk about that. Today, you're going to be on Tuesday, you see the Grand Muhammad section is in there. We're going to talk a little taste about that. And we're seeing a few things in here in the papers talking about eyeing 5 million cruise visitors, right? George Smith dies at 82 and 2 men murdered. Police are looking into men responsible for 2 separate murders in New Providence. The first murder happened at 11 p.m. on Friday in Hospital Lane, and the second murder happened at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Listen, this is a lot. I just want to be very clear about these things. This is a tremendous amount. We see that 2 women died in separate traffic incidents. 2 women were killed in separate traffic accidents on New Providence Friday. They said the first accident happened around 3:30 p.m., which is wild. We were going home, and before we got home, we got some information that this person had died. We said, "Wow, this is a lot." And the second happened about 11:15 p.m. in Stapleton Gardens around that night. I just want you guys to be. Can I say this? I just want you guys to let's be cautious of the environment that's around us. Let's be cautious about that. I continue to be able to pray for you and that you find your space and sort of your equilibrium. I know that sometimes we can be dazed and confused behind. And if you're anything like me, you use this time to talk to yourself in the car. You swear on the phone. I promise you, I'm talking to myself. I got to put the windows up sometimes. I sound crazy, right? So, sometimes you got to kind of encourage yourself in the Lord to kind of move forward. So I'm just hoping that you won't sink so deep into your tribulations whilst you're on the road, or whatever the situation is that got you your focus, your attention elsewhere, whether it's an argument or whatever it is. I just pray that you kind of, understand that you still have a responsibility to attend to those things on the road. I pray for the families of these persons who've passed away, and I continue to be able to say a soft prayer for all of us, so we can be able to align ourselves with purpose and move in the direction that we were called to move in this season. Let's just do that. Joe Smith died, man. I was thinking to myself, should I play one or two pieces of the interview? You remember we had an opportunity to be able to talk about George Smith, to talk directly, to George Smith. Just being able to kind of gather his thoughts and ideas about our current position. Had a wonderful interview with him. Go back on GuardianTalkRadio.com. You can be able to find that there and pick that up. 82 years old, George Smith passes away at his Cable Beach home. And I had to write down what the Prime Minister said about him. And I thought it was former Prime Minister Perry Christie over the newscast just now. Says that he's a progressive who personifies patriotism. A progressive who personifies patriotism, I think, is a unique perspective. I believe that George Smith has contributed a great deal to this country in many ways. I believe that we've learned a great deal from him, whether it be his actions or whether it be his position and his pursuit. I believe we've learned a great deal, like so many other men and women in our country. And I just want to be able to say that it's important for us to understand that every step of this journey, once we take on this shoal, once we put on this shoal of purpose and have a very clear understanding of the path that we must take, I think it's very important that each progressive, and no pun intended, each step we take in this journey has to be with a very clear understanding that there is an end in sight. I'm running into this day and day, and I want to be able to talk about it today. The line's going to be wide open if you want to be able to be a part of the conversation today. We started off like that. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Hit me up on the text line 422-4796, or anywhere from the family of islands, toll-free number, toll-free. Please, 242-300-5720. That's 242-300-5720. The lines are wide open. I'm going to give a shout out to a few people. I got a couple calls last night. Between last night, Sunday night, and Saturday night, I've been getting calls from persons who have been listening into the show and really been participating from afar off. I want to thank you so much. If you're out there, you want to send a message, you see somebody who's on the show, you send a little 1-2 words with them, I want to thank you. I really do. I want to thank you for your participation. I want to thank you for your active listening. And if the show is lingering and living with you even days after, I want to thank you for even thinking about it and your consideration. I really do. I want to give a shout out to all those persons. If you're celebrating a birthday, I want to give you a happy birthday shout out also. I came at the bank this morning, was trying to do something over at the bank right there at JFK. And when I get out, they said, why don't you stop this? This is the indecency that meets me at the door. And he's listening. Watch me. The indecency wrapped in a fluorescent vest this morning. Like a crossing guard with information that be diabolical of my day. You need to stop it right now in Jesus' name. So I walk on the bike, right? Listen to the indecency. I gotta do this. I walk on the bike. Me and my wife with me. So Howard, why don't you stop doing foolishness and come back home and go back to your roots? So I said, what, excuse me? What? Howard, why don't you stop doing foolishness and go back to your roots? So I was, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the DNA? I got to be facetious. I got to. Because he cannot mean the F and M. This is what I'm thinking in my mind, right? So I say, you mean the DNA? He said, what DNA? F and M. I say, if you don't stop talking foolishness this morning, right? Y'all wouldn't let me live in this city, right? Praise God. I can fight you. It's a beautiful day. I want to kind of put that out there for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to touch some things, man. I want to be decent as possible. I'm really trying to. I'm really trying to be decent, but you know how I go, right? Not that indecency is rich within me, but I'm propelled and sometimes perplexed by what I see. And to be able to hear this transition that's happening in the country. There's a great deal of shifting happening in the country. I want to talk like this, right? Producer, fix this mic for me, please. I feel like it's a lot of echo. I want to talk like this. With the shifting that's happening in the country, with persons moving off the scene, whether by force or by a very clear epiphany within themselves that it's time to be able to step back, there is a shifting that's happening in our country. And we're seeing a lot of younger persons who would have been able to cheerlead for a long time and been able to be the proverbial water boys and water girls of sorts, now shifting slowly but surely into positions of prominence and authority in our country. It's taking a long time. Can I just say that? It's taking a long time, right? But it's just like change. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And so if for any of us who are recognizing this, the two fractions, right? So the traditional yesteryear fraction and this progressive youthful fraction that has a desire to be able to find itself nestled in a position of authority, there's some things that's happening, right? And this is through my observation. I observe that just looking at it, that I think there's a sense of dishonesty that's happening. I think that persons seek to find themselves manipulating or seeking to manipulate what history has said about you, or your commitment that you've made over the years, the fruits that you've delivered to us. People seek to shift our minds about that. It's hard for us to dismiss what the fruits that you delivered to us at the forefront. It's hard for us to do that. I'm looking at Prime Minister. I'm looking at the former Prime Ministers. I'm looking at this transition. I'm listening to the language. I'm listening. I feel like it's a great sense of disingenuous men and women. The honorability has gone out the door. And there is this desire, this yearning, this unquenchable thirst and pursuit to shift the narrative that has been said about me. That consciously, while as I was making these proverbial steps into the future, I never considered tomorrow. I moved with my head down, my proverbial head down, not concerned about the steps that I have to make, not concerned about the path that I was on, but consumed and concerned with this immediate position. And as you draw near, as your steps weaken, as your eyes dim, as you feel this sort of fibromyalgia, whatever going on, the arthritis, you feel the shifting in your body, and you gently and slowly lift your heads and recognize that, oh my God, my time almost come. All this time I was consumed with myself. Now my time is almost here. And so you rush to shift the narrative for the years that you were absolutely disconnected. You try to create a new narrative before the end of the road. But we was watching you the whole time. We watched you the entire time. With every step you took that you deemed progressive and good for this country, but every articulation and posture, with all that you've given us as it relates to talking points for this country and talking points for your political organization, we have never forgotten. You've never forgotten. And now we're at this posture and watching you as your life, whether political, whether it be your mortality, whatever it is, comes to an end. and this shift be inevitable, there is this desire by those that are coming in to be able to pay homage to the men and women of yesteryear and identify through whatever fabricated position, I don't know what this is, whatever this fabrication is, and say such and such when your fruits did not display those things. I just want to be very clear about it. And this is not the first time I said this. And I'm indifferent about talking like this because I've already been deemed and called a hypocrite. But my hypocrisy is in escrow. My hypocrisy is on layaway. My hypocrisy I've not yet received the talent thereof. But it's inevitable. It's waiting for me. Because this is what our society requires. And having a conversation yesterday with a loved one, they started to tell me about their posture and position and sort of this idea of just giving up. Because, we talk like this in our homes. This idea of just giving up and yielding to what seems to be the signs of the time. Yielding to what seems to be, well, everybody else doing this. But if everybody else is doing it and they're getting away with it, well, what the hell? I might as well give it a shot. We have placed convictions aside. We have placed all these things, and we now, anyone who seeks to hold fast and steadfast to convictions and the belief that this is the course that we must take for growth and development, will label idealist, as though this is a bad thing, as though this is a taboo thing. Oh, you're idealist. Oh my God, and you were rejected entirely. We cannot survive like this. Can I say that to you? We cannot survive like this. I called several banks this morning because I wanted to kind of open up a new account to do some stuff. And every single bank I called had someone overseas answering the telephone. There is an inevitability, this change that is shifting from opportunities that once existed within our borders that are now going out into the global market. That there is an increased position. Whilst this morning listening to Dwight for a few seconds talked about only 500 persons. He was talking with my good friend Belinda Wilson, head of the BUT. There are only 500 persons or so that graduated from the University of the Bahamas. Right? Talk to me. And of the 500 and so, these are significant decreases. And Belinda indicated that there should be an opportunity to be able to, University of the Bahamas should identify what caused these people not to go back to school. I think it's very simple, money. But beyond that, if we get into the complexity of it and move beyond the surface, we realize that there's no hope. What the hell are we getting to school for? What are we getting to school for? Is that sort of the question that resides within the spirit of young people? Well, what are I doing this for? This ain't make no sense. I still have to come out here. I just heard there is a particular government division that has young persons putting in letters to resign from the government. Nearly 500 young people, young recruits within the government sector, within a particular government sector, seek to get out, and the traditionalists are absolutely baffled by the thing. They don't understand why would young people not want to join the Royal Police Force, Royal Bahamas Police Force, Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Why would they not want to join customs? Why would they want to be leaving immigration? Why? Because what is this about? What is this relentless abuse and poor pay, lack of recognition? What is this all about? And that's the question. The question is, where are we? We cannot survive as a nation, as a community, as a country, as individuals, with this mindset that rejects the tenets, the pillars of who we are, the kind of boasting that shone like an emerald at the paramount of the mountain, at the pinnacle of the mountain, as the sun rise and beam throughout the entire Caribbean. That's how we shone. That is us. That is who we are, the Bahamas. The entire Caribbean. Whilst they like to reject the idea that we're not necessarily a part of the Caribbean Sea. But we sit at the pinnacle of this thing for years, decades. And no matter where we travel throughout the length and breadth of the Caribbean, our posture, our demeanor, our glow, our aura always preceded us. Or use a Bahamian. Oh, y'all is Bahamian. There's an expectation that we carry ourselves different. Now we're nearly 400,000 strong and have gone nowhere. Our children are not motivated. There are little to no opportunities, and we continue to be able to blame it on COVID, or blame it on Dorian, or blame it on whatever else. We relentlessly look at it and I try to identify externally what the issue is. However, we have not done the introspection as a community, as a nation, as a people, from politics or religion, to identify that there is something broken in our society. And all you want to do to pontificate about who was great as they step down from their position and retire, or as they transition and retire to life, your pontification and trying to manipulate this particular time and season that we're in with your words that lack the credibility that it had at the onset. Talk to me. Let's just be very clear about this thing. Talk to me. You're not going to convince us with your words that we're on the path for growth and development, no matter how much we celebrate. I am all here for the celebration. I'm happy for it. But I cannot say to you that I can hear and I can see that your deception is rich. Let's be honest. Let's talk. Let's move towards growth and development, and let's make this country the country that our forefathers fought for. And I'm not talking about the political forefathers. I'm talking about those that stood up for the Bremer Road riot. I'm talking about those that march. I'm talking about those men and women that decided that enough is enough. There is an expectation that we provide a better community for those persons. The lines are open, guys. Please be a part of the conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the family of violence, 242-300. 5720, or hit me up 422-4796. I'm going to take this first my commercial break, the first commercial break, and be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
Make your morning sizzle with breakfast from Burger King Nassau. Enjoy not one, but two delicious sausage and cheese sandwiches made just for you for only $5.75 including VAT. This breakfast classic is made with Burger King's savory sizzling sausage and melted American cheese on that classic buttery croissant you love. So say hello to Sizzlin' Mornings at Burger King with two sausage and cheese sandwiches for only $5.75 including VAT. Only at Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
Alive believes loyalty is not without its rewards. We're offering you a summer full of deals to say thanks for sticking with us. Enjoy free roaming, free data, cash back, and more incredible deals. With the certified fastest network in the country and top-rated service, Alive gives you something worth holding on to. Hold on to the best in the business. Alive. Believe, invest. Terms and conditions apply.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity. It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it. My sales increased, and I can track my earnings. Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today. Call 356-7764.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant and your company, live and in full effect. The Foundation, chopping it down today. Kind of getting geared up to do some stuff next week. You know that next week, Monday to next week, Friday, we're going to be in Grand Bahama. I'm excited about the thing. Talk to me. We've been getting good feedback. A lot of persons want to participate. If you want to participate in that and kind of be a sponsor so we can be able to put some stuff, we got a good package for you. Might as well tell you, this is a very affordable package to kind of get your stuff played out there and participate in it. If you're in there, if you have been sort of displaced from Grand Bahama from an economic standpoint, or you came here after the hurricane or whatever it is, and you want to be able to participate because you're doing well now, come on, hit me up, 827-0111, 827-0111, and we can make some things happen. You should see, hopefully, I'm still waiting on you guys' logos to get in there. If you're listening to me, send your logo to me, right, so we can put it on the banner. We have the banner prepared for you to kind of get that stuff out there, and you'll be able to see that in the Guardian newspaper as we move forward to, we're calling it the Grand Bahama Rejuvenation Tour from June 5th to the 9th. So we're going to be able to do that. The lines are wide open, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be able to participate and be a part of the conversation, please do so. The number is 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the family of islands, toll-free number, 242-300-5720, or hit me up on the text, 422-4796. Is this a call I got? Call on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Brother Grant.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
I hope you're doing well.
I'm fantastic, man, Professor. What's happening with you?
I hope you haven't forgotten about the Constitution.
No, I haven't. I have not. You wouldn't allow me. Go ahead. What's up?
What is this? I just want to make sure I heard you clearly. I believe you're talking about some young people leaving the civil service.
Yes.
And I just want you to just clarify that for me, because I heard something else different from someone who's very, very senior.
Okay. What the information that's came to me through conversation is that there are a significant amount of young persons who would have entered the civil service and now seeking to be able to withdraw their service. They want to move back. They want to move into another area because I don't know if it's hyped up to what their expectations are, or I just don't know. But they're moving away, and this has not been the tradition of this sort of level of service in our country.
No, okay, I understand that. You mean to tell me now that young people are leaving the civil service and going into the private sector?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the understanding?
Yes, that's the understanding.
Well, I heard the commissioner was saying that, since they had this change with the policy on insurance, that according to him now, that there are still a large number of persons interested in joining the service, the police force in particular. And so when I heard you mention that, I thought about the remarks that he made. And it would be an unusual thing, what you just mentioned, if that is really happening. And I'm not saying that you're misleading the public, because that is what stuck out in my mind. But I'll tell you this, there's been a lot of deception over the last 50 years. I have hardcore evidence and hardcore proof that the government of the Bahamas has done some things to the Bahamian people that are not good. I hear all the hullabaloo about celebrating, but what are you celebrating? What have we achieved over 50 years? I always ask two major questions. What major national problems that the government of the Bahamas solved on behalf of the Bahamian people over the last 50 years? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to the Bahamian people as a result of these major national problems having been solved. That's one question. Next question. What major constituency problems have been solved in the constituencies of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas by the representative of that particular constituency? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to the constituents in that particular constituency as a result of these major constituency problems having been solved. Mr. Grant, I haven't heard any answer to those two questions, In all the celebrations, and you look around at these constituencies on the island of New Providence, even the one where I live, I ask myself, how far have we come? Yes, people are here. A lot of people have died, They had high hopes in what the founding fathers did, the mothers and fathers that you mentioned, not just the political personalities, but the average man and woman who fought to bring change in this country. Their mark has been left. What have we achieved over that last 50 years since July the 10th, 1973, and go even further, January the 10th, that's when the real beginning started, January the 10th, 1967. 56 years and some months. And I believe we need to take an analysis of what has gone down over that 50-year span.
But we can't allow the politicians to be able to craft the narrative. We can't allow them to be the forerunners in what this narrative is, because you can cherry pick through the information that history provides us and select. You could be selective and present this information to the public as though everything has been, everything has been great over the past 50 years, and this is what we're celebrating, when we know that that's an injustice to who we are as a society.
No, it is a terrible injustice. I agree with you. But just look at, let's look at it this way, Brother Grant. In a nation like the Bahamas, if the majority of your people, and I'm going to tell you right now, I disagree with that census thing they have out there, because I'm not in the census. My family members are not in the census. So I don't know what kind of numbers they came up with, because they never came to my house. They never came to members of my family. A whole lot of people were left out of that census. That's a different subject for another day. But I just want to say that when you look at what has happened, the majority of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the average man, the average woman in Baintown, the average man in Portland Castle, the average man in Foxhill, how far have they come? What benefits have come to them over the last 50 years? That's what I'm talking about.
I like that question.
Brother Grant, if the majority of your people are not benefiting from what has happened in the country, then, of course, something is seriously wrong with that. It can't be, like you say, people will cherry pick. I agree with you. That's true. But look at the entire structure and see what is happening now to people. Look at our social services. Look at our health services. Look at the roads, the potholes in the roads. That's unconstitutional. I was telling someone that the other day. Keep dropping. My sister was driving. Keep dropping it, hole after hole after hole. That's unconstitutional. That's deprivation in your life. It frustrates you. Frustration. That's unconstitutional. So a lot of things have happened which have not been good for the Bahamian people. And we need to repent of that, we need to change from that, and we need to do better. And so I hear all the hullabaloo about the celebrations, but the point is we have to look at it objectively and move forward. We need a resetting of things now. We got to start all over again from scratch. from what was originally established for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you, Brother Grant.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so very kindly for that contribution, Professor. I just give you all a lot of my business. I feel like my life is an open book. I feel the necessity to do that, especially sitting in this seat, because I know that thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people listen every day. And I never, imagine the number of people I normally come in here and just talk to the mic. I never imagine judges, doctors, lawyers, this, that, boom, boom, boom. I never do that. I'm always taken back when I walk outside and people say, Howard, or they listen to hear, use Howard Grant, no matter where I go throughout the city. And I'm always humbled by it. And I give you a big smile. That's my personality. That's who I am. And but I'm always taken aback. I never want to think of myself bigger than I am. And I'm a big guy. Talk to me. Let's just be very clear about this, right? so I never. How do I stay grounded with honesty? I stay grounded with this sort of transparency. I stay grounded with this vulnerability at the forefront. I do this intentionally. I don't want to be able to come here and craft a narrative to give to you. I don't want to come here and read an agenda that somebody's given me, right? These talking points, bullet points, and so forth and so on. I had a conversation with my wife, right? And just being able to, because I want to be honest with you, and to talk about our position, to talk about our moving, to talk about this, to talk about that. And for the majority of our wedding, our marriage, I've been married 20 years this year. For the majority, I can tell you my business, right? Now, she may not necessarily always agree with this, but this is for you to learn, because I can be gone one day, but this can be here. So deal with this. Watch me. For 17 years, out of the 20 years that I was married, I have been pursuing occupation. Okay? What are you talking about, Howard? Okay. I prayed to God, my God, when my son was born, my first son. And I said, Lord, I don't want this boy to ever see me working for another man. So I prayed this. I said, I wanted you to give me an opportunity to be able to work for myself, to do this, to do that, to do the next thing, and be able to create an opportunity to be able to leave legacy for I need to get out of this poverty, Jesus. I don't need this. I don't want to work myself to death and not leave anything for my children. And this is very important that I say this to you, because I felt this pinch in my own life. Can we talk today? I talking today. Let's talk. We here. Let's do it. And so as I move and approach my 20th year anniversary with my wife, my son's 17 years old now, and I've recognized that I've been unable to keep a traditional job over the past 17 years of my life. As tribulations got significantly increased in my life, and pressures that fell on my shoulder, and I yielded to the circumstances and say, oh Lord, I guess I got to go back to work. And I did just that. And then going back to what I identified as Egypt. Man, talk to me. I never could, listen to me, I can shoot straight with you. I work at the Al Luqaya Hotel. The people fire me for no reason. I cry for 3 months. I told you this. After I left the hotel, my entire wedding department closed down. The director I told you was responsible for that got fired. And then the entire hotel shut down. I can't even get no amen. Whilst I was crying, I had to look within myself and said, well, with hindsight being 2020, look back at this and said, Lord, you was keeping me from something? What's going on? Because whilst everyone had to start at ground zero, I didn't gone through that months, maybe a year before. I I did this. This was done. Tribulation increased in Grand Bahama. I moved to Nassau looking for an opportunity to get back into the hotel. Got at the Sheraton Hotel. I speak Spanish. I do this. I knew all these things. I know these people properly. Boom, boom, boom. I came there as a manager. Oh my God, I'm going to do well in this country. In this company, I should climb up to Six Sigma status real soon. I was offered an opportunity to become a director. I didn't take the opportunity. All this stuff. This happened. This really happened. So I said, Lord, what are you saying to me? All right, God, I can take the job and I'll stay here as long as possible. Less than 6 months in, the people sell the hotel. Never happened before in my life. I said, what's going on here? So the Mexicans came in. I said, the Mexicans should like me. I'm a nice guy. I almost look Mexican. They could keep me. I was a big Mexican. Right? They could keep me. I could speak the language. The people sought to fire me. I didn't cry this time. I didn't been through this. You can cry for this no more. It's big man. That's what the B in the Bahamas for, big man. Going through that unlawfully, this was absolutely unlawful what they did. I told you they gave me a letter of redundancy as the front office manager, and I tell the woman, I said, listen, miss, you got to be out of your mind. I go in somewhere with this. Please, y'all don't fight me. I see your telephone calls. After I would have gone through all of this, got fired, the entire hotel closed down. I can't even get no amen, Jesus. Lord God, my God. The entire hotel closed down. I was able to get severance pay. Many people at the hotel right now waiting. Some of them passed away, waiting for severance pay. They ain't get it yet. When you start to have this kind of a question about how far have they come, that has to be with introspection. My advantage is that I've already been in and out of this occupational field and gave me time to look deep within myself. A lot of people are so wrapped up in occupation, work, that they have not asked themselves the question, have I moved even one iota forward? And I think many of us are afraid of the answer. We haven't moved forward at all. We've watched other persons and what we perceive to be moving forward. But as a nation, we have not moved forward. We have not. And our politicians are crafting a narrative, cherry-picking information, stories, and this nostalgia of yesteryear, and feeding it to us to ingest as we move forward. This is like plastic cheese. It ain't burning, and it cannot be digested in the proverbial body of who we are as a Bahamian people. I just get preachy quickly. You are lying to us. But we can't tell that because we're so busy on this kind of a hamster wheel. Quickly, move, dropping down. Dead, out of the race. And we have not moved forward. I want to touch it like that, ladies and gentlemen. I can let this caller get in, and then we can go to a commercial break. Caller, you're on the line with us live. Thank you so much for holding. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller, you're on the line with us live. No? Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead. Okay. Guys, call me back after the commercial break. Listen, I just want to shoot straight with you. I have the time to do introspection. I do. And I've been kept. My faith, as people has asked you, well, why you keep talking about this, Jesus? Don't worry, if it ain't work for you, that's your business. Don't fight me. You work for me. He kept me. I got in an accident when I was 6 years old, running from Junior Grand Dog in 8 Mile Rock. I was dragged, almost 70 feet in this woman's car, under this woman's car. I could see all the bottom of the engine, my head slamming, and I am here today. Y'all need to stop it and understand that there is a greater purpose in this life for us and for all those who seek to create a narrative for us to ingest. this unhealthy narrative, this lack the spiritual nutrition that we need to move forward. Man, let's talk like this. Let's get preachy sometimes. But I just won't go because I've heard too much over the past few days. This idea that you cherry pick from yesteryear and trying to tell me to ingest that, I just read, sir. This is not true. Let's talk about it. Let me take this next commercial break and be right back. But we can go to news, go to commercial break, go to news, and be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
Almost there.
Sarge, that's you.
Well, who else?
Tell the truth. I thought a beige walrus was dying on the sidewalk.
I'm preparing for my 4x100 meter debut.
More like 1 by 1, because the other 99 killing you.
Funny, the Bahamas games come in July 7th to July 15th, and Grand Bahama gotta win this.
Well, you know that.
Email info@thebahamasgames.org or call 322-1029 for more information.
Which island is gonna win?
My Gateway is the centralized, safe, secure way to access and pay for government services online. Go to mygateway.gov.bs and log in to request a police character certificate, renew your passport or driver's license, and more. Receive emails confirming requests and alerts when documents are ready. You must have a valid, government-issued ID in order to collect documents. My Gateway is fast, easy, and convenient. Go to mygateway.gov.bs and register today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. 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 The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant, and your company, The Foundation, on this absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon. So happy to be in your company. I hope you're enjoying yourselves out there. And is it a little bit cringy for you? Is it giving you sort of reluctance in terms of contribution? Or is this a conversation that leads into introspection? Please give me a call today, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text, 242-300-5720. Or you can also hit me up on the text line, 422-4796. We got all that information in there, so we can be able to get those things done. I got a couple of these texts. I got a couple of these texts in here that I want to be able to read for you. So it says, well, let me be decent. I see a couple more texts coming in. This one was a little bit heavy, so I got to do this, right? So it says, great shows, user Howard. You need to let it go, buddy. You ain't over. This is too much. Okay, I let it go. I can't tell you a story. You think I hold on? You think I hold on to the thing? It's over. Okay, don't fight me. Let me tell you the story. says, great show as usual, buddy. You need to let it go, man. It's you ain't over this hotel thing yet. You worse than when the mango skin gal I had said, leave me, Howard, I let it go. I think you should let it go. It's a boy, I tell you, right? And then it says, Howard, the hotel closed down because you took a trip to Cat Island. Boy, I tell you. Let me tell you something. The indecency is rich. You got me crying in the studio today. That's a text that came through, guys. I want to be able to put that on the table, right? It says, good afternoon, Howard. What's the name of the caller, Professor, that you call him? He always makes sense. Yes, we call him Professor. He's always here. He was one of my guests, and he had a great, wonderful contribution. Always has. There's another text that's coming. It says, Howard, how are you? Thanks for the gospel, LOL. We have to pay attention to the visitation from the U.S. Vice President coming up. She is the forerunner for LGBT organization. They are pushing their agenda in the Caribbean hard. We have to pay attention. They are trying to brainwash our children early. That's a text that's coming through. This is big while. All caps. It's a lot. And let's be able to read this, right? So if you just quickly Google Vice President Kamala Harris and LGBTQ agenda, you'll be able to see ABC pop up. You'll be able to see BBC pop up. You'll be able to see some stuff that actually speaks to sort of her position that she's been able to take over the course of time, not necessarily through the lens of LGBTQ, more specifically, but being able to use the label or the banner that says addresses human rights amidst anti-LGBTQ. We could see this on March 27th. ABC has a story on March 27, 2023, during her first full day in Accra, Ghana. On Monday, Vice President Harris met with the nation's president. Let me open up the thing, right? She met with the nation's president, raising human rights issues and growing competition from China in the region during their bilateral meeting. Currently being discussed in Ghana's parliamentary is the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, right? So the fact of the matter is that I don't believe that. I can't tell you what people's agenda is. I know that this modification of language or the repurposing of language to mean something else, I think all of us have become victims of this. I think so many of us, even locally within our own, this is when we started talking the conversation at the top of the hour, right? We've fallen victim to this repurposing of the fruits that we once saw. We've seen this change, especially from the introduction of COVID, when the entire world shut down, and the reintroduction or sort of the kickstart globally of how things should work. The language shifted. They kept talking about, well, this is fluid. Remember that. What we did not expect from our politicians in yesteryear, where there was an expectation for them to always remain as accurate as possible and for them to always come to forefront and give us this transparent information for growth and development. Because of this sort of instant gratification, this is me, this is Howard now, because of this introduction of instant gratification, right? So they have ripped out the proverbial red tape, right? And sort of the protocols to making these decisions to step towards doing some stuff. As it relates to AstraZeneca, as it relates to Pfizer and all these particular things, even when they got those vaccines, what happened is that a lot of the steps were skipped, right? A lot of the steps were skipped. They was, okay, this is good. You could just give it to people. Yeah, this is good. So the trial associated with those particular things had been skipped for a lot of persons. But there was this sort of eager, this relentless desire, this yearning to be able to see this kinetic energy globally again. We wanted to see the world move again, right? Economically, right? And we wanted to get back to work. And so a lot of that, the red tape has been burst through with the introduction and the forerunner of words such as, this is a fluid situation. This is fluid, right? And then This sort of an idea that things are changing. When are we going to get back to where it's supposed to be? This introduction of this is the new norm. This new norm and this fluidity, this conversation that actually encases and embodies this language has been applied into subsectors of our society. And we've seen the application within this community, this alternative community, right? This community that and not just that, right? It's other communities that actually speak to that, but it's pronounced within the LGBTQ community that this is the new norm. And it is followed by conversations that meet you right where you are. So if it's a faith-based conversation and you want to talk about the Bible, they cherry pick throughout the Bible. And I say they, I mean, because if it's an agenda, that's a they, right? They cherry pick to identify the scriptures that can be able to speak to the fact that this existed at one point and has always existed. And because it's always existed, is there truly an expectation that it won't be into the future? So here comes the introduction. This is the new norm. You've even seen locally, just last week we were reading an article from Human Rights Bahamas, which initially was Rights Bahamas. Can we talk like this? We read an article on Friday from Human Rights Bahamas that actually addressed what Rex Major in his capacity would have said to the ecumenical service and all the politicians were there. And he took on this kind of a strong position to indicate that people lie. And the article blatantly indicated that he insinuated that women lie. So this is strong. All this is very strong, and I cannot ascribe and say that this is the sole agenda of Vice President coming to the Bahamas. I know for years, maybe a decade in some, we have not had an ambassador from the United States of America. And there was a lot of speculation that kind of floated locally, right? Under the former president of the United States of America, we had President Trump did his, well, I can't say he did his best. He identified persons who would have been able to move to an official capacity as an ambassador for the country, and had an opportunity to be able to speak to these persons prior to, and I wouldn't call their name, prior to the official appointment. So I would have gotten this information that these things were going to happen. These particular persons were already in sort of the process of being able to go to those classes and really gearing up for that. So the United States of America understood, based upon our relationships, based upon our proximity, and based upon the neighbors from, the Chinese, seeking to forge a stronger relationships in this region and more specifically in this country. America kind of did what they had to do. So I believe that this is a result of that, not necessarily an agenda that the vice president is taking on. I think she's coming through the vein to talk about human rights. That's one. But it also clearly states the relationship that is desperately in need of being able to fix and really strengthen. And I think that that is one of the things that she's coming to do also. So I couldn't put the whole LGBTQ agenda on her. I believe that she's going to talk to the country more specifically about, to our leaders, more specifically about the relationship or the responsibility of being able to ensure that we are stay in a steadfast position as it relates to human rights, but not necessarily the LGBTQ agenda. Let's be able to talk like that. The lines are open, guys, if you want to be a part of that. It says, then people in Uganda then put the VP back on the plane and send her on her way. She knows better to come to the Caribbean, people poaching. Now, I want to be able to talk like that, though. I think we have this kind of a phobia. I really don't. I really don't. I don't. I told you the story before. I've worked, and I don't think it's because of conditioning. I accept people for who they are. This is who you are. The only thing that I find absolutely repulsive for me as it relates to people is sheer rudeness. I don't like it. I don't like rude, stupid people. Not in a bad way. I mean, stupid is a strong word to use here. But we know that persons have those qualities I can't deal with it. I can't deal with the fact that you could never get to a juncture to compromise. I can't deal with the fact that you can't calm down for 2 seconds and let's have a conversation. I can't deal with that. But, I sat in the hotel and I was a guest to be able to deal with, and I had to host people who were doing a Darth Vader convention and all this CARICOM and all these Comic-Cons, all these stuff in the United States of America, which is where people will come into the hotel in Pampers, big grown men and capes. And I stood there and I smiled and I participated in terms of being able to accommodate them. I don't get in people business. And so I don't believe that there should be a fear and a phobia associated with, oh my God, they're coming to descend the homosexuality and the lesbianism on the Bahamas. I'm indifferent with that. I believe that I have the strength and the conviction and the wherewithal not to push my faith down your throat, but to be able to stand steadfast and say to you that I can be all of Howard and still be a productive human being in this space. That's my rule. So it says, rude and stupid sounds like Cassius Stewart. He sounds belligerent on some shows. Don't fight Cassius. He was on the show with us the other day. Had a very good conversation with him. I don't want to kind of throw him under the bus like that. But he's definitely being able to step forward to talk about some stuff that a lot of us are indifferent in terms of being able to bring to the forefront. So that's the problem, Howard. They get convoluted. Human rights and gay rights are two different things. They try to tie it together. It's like how Americans have stopped saying rights for blacks. Instead, they say people of color, which includes yellow, brown, green, and all, right? We've seen that with just the narrative. The narrative is perpetual inclusion. And it's our responsibility to be able to step up. These things have come in, they visited us to our own home. They're right here at our shores. And we can only see it pronounced in the United States of America because relentless pundits and persons from independent spaces can be able to articulate, identify, and highlight the thing. Locally, there's a fear of victimization. There's a fear of this sort of social correctness. There are a lot of persons who have yielded their talents, their tongue, their voices to a government entity. Can we talk like this? I can't even get no amen. See, y'all just fright me, but it's true. It's the truth. You have yielded your voice to an idea of being able to speak, what they call it, sing for your supper. So we're not going to see these things, but these things exist in our space. They're right here. Human rights and all these things. Listen, I just told you that Rights Bahamas has now become Human Rights Bahamas. There are global entities that identify your particular agenda locally and attach themselves to that from an external standpoint and fund it. But you have to have the proper label and carry out this particular agenda. Let's talk with clarity. And let's convolute the conversation. Let's do that. The numbers to call 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the family violence, 300-5720, or hit me up on the text, 422-4796. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Howard Grant.
Good afternoon, my brother. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I get eyes to see what's happening, Howard.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to you from the first hour. I missed about 15 or 20 minutes, but I think I heard when the professor called.
Yes.
And I heard this, and I'm hearing this now about human rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the thing is, Howard, I'm afraid that but human rights mean different things, or is more multifaceted for some people than others.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in thinking about human rights, I thought it would have been, my rights would have been inalienable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we didn't see that during the pandemic. So when you said that the Pimpers Paradise was coming here, Kamala Harris, right? Mm-hmm. She's always smiling when there's no joke, so I'm afraid of her, right? I was wondering, I can't say why she's coming, because any person who's well-read knows that the public is always spoon-fed subterfuge. So I'm not delving into that. If you believe that everything you're told on the surface is what it is, then everybody is shallow, okay? So when it comes to human rights, I see a selective struggle whereby they decide which human rights they want to fight for. The LGBTQYXCY, right? Then, right? Whatever human rights they see fit. But then if the human rights agenda is not spread out enough for it to be satisfying for the general population. So that's to me, right? To me, personally, there's no human rights don't exist for me. I've never seen it. You know, the police, they body with you here. You don't have a right to remain silent. They beat you while you handcuffed. Nothing comes out of it. You see, you have to understand what's going on. There's no such thing as human rights for the ghetto youth. I go by what they experience. All right? They searched me the other day because I wear dreadlocks. They say they suspect me for a gun, but if they know me, they wouldn't have searched me for a gun. I'm a man almost 60. But they riding so with it. You understand? So they and the front of my business establishment. So they have no respect for you. As far as they can send them a dirty nigga walking down the street because you're unkempt. They don't know what the word unkempt means. So because of the Negro psyche, once you wear dreadlocks, you are unkempt. Never mind, it's washed and it's clean. You see, so this is the type of stain brain these mad men have. Okay? There's no human rights. During the pandemic, you didn't see human rights, you know. Who got together and decide who's an essential worker from a non-essential worker? You see the leaders of our country showing the Bahamian people so much contempt. They're traveling, pump, pardonry, and just whatever other P word, you know, procrastination, whatever, I could go on and on. There's nothing productive going on. It's like these guys are lost. It's like this country is a country of lawlessness where everything goes. You can't see it, Howard. Do you realize I was having a conversation with Critical Thinker and Cleaver. And what is frightening for me, right, is it should be so clear to the general population. Why is it that the government don't want to implement or start to move towards a national digital ID system pertaining to DNA and maternity and paternity and citizenship? So what happens is this system with the justice of the peace needs to go as soon as possible. Because with the implementation of artificial intelligence, I hope CRN would call and just say this over and over. With the implementation of the system, then you will be able to find out that this justice to the peace signed for 2,000 affidavits. And you know it's impossible for him to know all of this information about people. And so what you then have now is citizenship being passed on to people who don't deserve citizenship. All right? Residency in some cases, but what you have then is the manipulation of the system. Then what you have is affiliates, dupes, and goons not having the gonads to question the government about anything. So what you then have is a totalized state of just nothingness and it's just wallowing. You know, when the leaders show contempt for the people at Howard, it's very, very, oh God, it's so painful. It's like these guys, every time you see them, they smiling and they pimping, they race straight through this man, they profiling, they race straight through this, they ain't doing nothing for the people.
Yeah, but who can hold them accountable?
If the crowd get insurmountable, that's the only way to hold these jokers accountable.
But it's 400,000.
Listen to me, Howard. Cap, listen to me. These people, what they doing is really, it's just like it's criminal. Because what I'm saying is, with the implementation of with the technological advances we have, with the biometrics, et cetera, you could then prove that this, all right, let's say there was a situation with the other day with Frankie Campbell where he was born, listen to me. How we know the story wasn't true what was said? The DNA could prove if the person is his mother or his father. DNA could prove that we've had someone who is illegitimate in the House of Assembly. That's what it could prove. But we don't want that. What we want to do is just wallow around in untruths and then call ourselves reputable and honorable men and people. We see where there's more Haitians in Abaco than Bahamians. The Minister of National Security says nothing. He just come on the scene. But no minister. I was shown an article from 1989. I can't remember who was the Minister of Education or whatever. An article from 1989 in which they said the Haitian population is becoming a problem then. Okay, but we still allow this justice of the peace where he sit on this whatever and just sign these papers and then you don't have no accountability. So I have no respect. There's nothing for me to celebrate, Howard. I'm sorry. Wow. I'm just vexed about the whole situation. You know, why are the people this xenophobic is about? Listen to me, man. Come on, man, Howard, man. Come on, man. That xenophobic story, almost like the story with he pointed a gun and fear for my life. That's almost the same narrative that the people use all the time. And they you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, Howard, if the people don't wake up in this country, especially the political affiliate dupes and goons who can't seem to see, they want so much crumbs at master table, they can't see nothing wrong. They are the people responsible. All of these people who did all of these nefarious activity and cannot give an account on it. Because you will be able, let's say you go to immigration, you don't have a paperwork because they saying they get rid of the paper because freedom of information is coming. Then you're not a citizen. Because once they start to get rid of paperwork to prove if someone is a citizen, that means the person is not a citizen. You have then a preponderance of evidence and an insurmountable amount of people who don't deserve citizenship that were given citizenship for political reasons. Then how could you allow this? And then now the government, I heard trying to pass a law, but they say, well, let bygones be bygones and everything move forward from here with the DNA and like for paternity and maternity testing. So I see why hats off to Cleaver for suggesting maternity and paternity, because you could have people come here on the boat, go lie, say someone is their mother, and then they get someone to say is the father. But the DNA could discredit all of that, and this is what they are afraid of.
Wow.
So I just thought I'd wake up the masses.
I appreciate you, my
So what
brother.
happens is like we asking the government to prove themselves for corruption, and they ain't gonna do that.
No.
They can take the masses or the change of government. It's just like some things don't be revealed about police situations until it reaches the courts, you know.
Wow.
Some things will never be revealed unless it go through the legal system. But this country is in a mess, more or less, jobless.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Let me take a next telephone call. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. No? This is a strong position that we're in. And if you feel no need to say anything about it, then okay, this is what we got. And then the poetic position and disposition, rather, of our politicians that uttered the words into our environment holds true and steadfast. It is what it is. That is a perpetual ellipsis, an ellipsis that extends beyond the 3 dots into 360 degrees, that we relentlessly and continuously see the exact same thing in this country. It is what it is, with no desire for change, reformation, transformation, growth, or development. It is what it is. And unless and until the 399,314 of us, that the census, I think the census, if that's my number, if I'm correct with that, unless and until we wake up and understand that we wield the power against the less than 100 and some people in power, that we've afforded an opportunity to ascend to the mount of transformation. Let's call it the Mount Transfiguration. That's a political mount in our country. To make the changes necessary to define the growth in this age, in this era, in this dispensation, then we are the relentless conks. Let me take a next telephone call. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead.
No.
Hey, how you doing, my brother? Turn your radio down.
Oh, MG. Getting you, Mr. Grant.
That's me.
You could hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. It's like my 3rd time calling.
I appreciate your persistence.
Just now, I hang up the phone because I know he need 1 million words to make like 1 point. Right? But
go ahead.
Personally, I don't care too much about the LGBTQ stuff and the corruption and the contamination. These people have planned for this world and their personal agendas, right? But I want to speak more on what you was talking about earlier, about being held back in the Bahamas as behemoth.
I like this. Go ahead.
And it starts from the top. And this is what I believe personally. It's my opinion. Like, and I'm talking in general now. The Prime Minister holds back. Like they say, we have the Westminster system. Right?
Yes.
So the Prime Minister holds back the MPs or as members of Parliament. Right? And it goes straight downhill. And I say that to say that, like, even in being in construction, like, being a young skilled man, the older skilled man don't want your job to shine because he want to hold a certain position and a certain way about himself. And it goes on, when you spoke about like young people not inspiring to be in police, be a policeman or go to the RBDF or whatever. I have a nephew that quit the defense force as well. But you got those people to the top branch that don't want to let the cycle of life go on. And even like you say you from Grand Bahama, even like back in the day, like basketball, we were so strong in basketball in Grand Bahama that when I went to high school, I had fellas in grade 11 and 12, and these dudes had like bad with gray in it, like, because why?
Isn't that crazy? I remember that.
Yeah, they wasn't smart enough to get into college, but they had skills. So what the coach kept doing, repeating them just to win championships.
We had dudes 22 in the 12th grade.
Yeah, the young fellas that were coming up with had better skills and smarter brains. We had to be oppressed and pushed back until they were.
Wow, this ain't what you're doing.
Yeah, and this is what goes on in society all around the world. And I look at it, I watch plenty movies. I like to lost myself in TV instead of thinking about words.
Wow.
But in doing so, right, I noticed like the world and its agenda, and you watch movies like, we don't have a culture. We don't have nothing to aspire to internationally. And I believe every one of our prime ministers failed. Every one of our governments failed. Finland came the closest, and maybe that was a B-. I'll give him, right? But I watch like countries develop, like people actually do things and build things and say that this was what I did. Right now we have a just thrown together nation. Like nobody could build a big building. Everything is like a begging system, especially in this Nassau-centric providence we live in. Man, that's even our governments. When we go off to negotiate, they beg us.
Yeah.
And I'm a Grand Subian. I'm a Nasubian from Martin Forest. All right?
Okay, my brother.
I travel a little bit over the world, but I like to see that the Bahamas is we're not developing. We don't have no visionaries. Everybody with an eye there is oppressed, and like you say, you gotta sing for your meal or your supper.
Just exists.
And then what they do is when you have radicalists come on the radio, or you're missing slipped in a radicalist that actually speak the truth. Even just like Rodney Mungo, what the government do? Show all of y'all a piece of bread. Shanique Miller, or what? Oh, no, not Sean, whatever she named. The another talk show. All they do is show them a piece of meat, and then I watch people like we so used to it as a culture. Like that's what you do. You like argue and you make noise and you throw tantrums. Tell somebody hear you, and then when you being heard, then all it takes is a little bit of something to shut you up.
Then bomb you as a senator. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so, it hurts me. And like you say, I quit construction because of the illustration I drew to you. And then, like that fella said, would text you, give up the hotel thing. Like let that pass. Like give up on that. Like
I ain't getting back in the hotel from now on until I can own it. I got to own one.
The first time I heard the story was for free. The second time I heard the story, I like 2 minutes of my minute, right? But I cool with that because I understand. Because the truth is, I was working the hot mix at one time ago, right? And you know why I got fired? In actuality, on translation, on summary, what he was telling me is that I walk with too much confidence.
That's heavy what you're saying to me.
The project manager came to me and said, "Boy, the boss say use walk like use the boss, man."
My God.
2 weeks later, I got fired. But
how you supposed to walk? I don't.
And I tried to change my walk. I started falling down because I like Jesus Christ, how to walk, how to do that. And so I didn't keep that job. Eventually, I lost that too. But I mean, I just want to challenge Brave Davis now and every leading prime minister to come. Like, let's do something for ourselves as behemoth. Let's stand for something. And this like overwhelming problem with immigration, like let's put a stop to it, because even like from the get go and with the felony that was fired for sending Mr. the Oscar Lyndon Pinland Gardner back to where he came from because his documents wasn't right. Like, let's get this right. Like, know that, yeah, you can live for a while.
Loftus Roker.
Have a few dollars and have a little head start. But with the planet you making for your children, like, isn't becoming, at the end of the day, they ain't gonna have it. So I want them to try and do better for us as a nation and put something together wherein us you want to be there and want to exist, like in us a legacy.
I like this, my brother.
That other people could actually benefit from. Let's have a real balance. Let's
I like this, my brother.
America, China, all of them come in and let's stop jonesing. Let's stop being beggars.
I like this, my brother. I thank your contribution, man. You did well today. You make me laugh. My wife texts me, I tell you, leave the hotel alone, right? She laughing, but y'all leave me alone. Thank you, my brother.
Really, we ain't on that run either.
I'm with you, my brother. Thank you. I appreciate you, telephone call.
Only doing the works of God. Because now where you are, on the platform you are.
He's a decent man.
Whatever.
He's a decent man.
You can't be sold, at least not for cheap.
No.
Them like Juan Miller. I like him though. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
And Juan McCartney too. That's my boy.
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Take the show.
Juan McCartney was in this space.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. All right?
I appreciate you, man.
Okay.
I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. You're a good, decent man. I appreciate your contribution. Man, I only just try to give you examples of my life. The other day, I gave you an example of my Cadillac that I purchased for $1,500. I got a text right away. How would you order, man? $1,500. God is not pleased. But my only example I'm trying to tell you is when you walk into a negotiation with desperation on your forehead. That's what our politicians do. You will be fully taken advantage of. That's the posture that the country is in. No one knows their value. No one knows their position. No one knows how long. It could have been generations that your father's father would have seen an opportunity in the country that he wouldn't have been able to take care of under Lyndon Pinland. That his father couldn't have been able to get over on Hubert Ingram. But now, in this sort of position and this posture, the country is desperate. We can be able to swoop in with a couple dollars and put $100 million at the forefront and get all the dreams that I'm telling you, people have been watching, just like I've been watching our Cadillac. They've been watching our country, and you leading negotiation with desperation. Can't do it. Let's take a next telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Howard.
Good morning, my dear. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. This Tuesday. You a little bit behind. Come back.
Wow.
Come forward this Tuesday.
I saw the study yesterday, but I enjoyed myself too much on the studio yesterday, man.
You're a little too far. Come forward, right?
Oh, I'm telling you. I can't on like Chicago line now.
Oh, my God. What'd you say?
Listen, I'm thinking about what the gentleman said, and I like what he said.
Yeah.
I like what the gentleman before him said also.
Yes.
But, and listening to you guys, it reminded me that someone was saying that this is how we got independence, out of desperation. The persons did not want to wait. They said I don't know if the UDP was running against the PLM, that they wanted to wait. They had certain things in place where we could have been the owners of our things before we went ahead to achieve independence. However, out of desperation, the PLP party who took it at the time, they took what was offered and saw it as a gain.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that story being told.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So we gained independence on desperation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's heavy. Well, hold on. Let me fix this for you. We never gained independence. We accepted or fell for or yielded to a position of self-governance because we didn't want to fight. We accepted the first thing that was offered to us, this package of self-governance, as opposed to the independence that we were fighting for or believed in.
And see, a lot of people, I know that's a hard pill for certain PLP persons to swallow, but that's what was said.
Can I say this? The PLP don't deny this. When you sit down and listen to people like Sean McQueenie in his particular capacity, when you sit down and listen, I listened the other night to that the conversation to the return of idealism. They have never denied one time. They never denied.
Listen. Mr. Davis said the other day that certain persons that when they are for the signing of with the independence, the thing that they got from England, but the persons was there because why they refused to accept what the truth was.
That's heavy.
Okay, so you cannot say they didn't deny it. They're denying it. Some of them accept it because they know the truth and they stand for the truth. Those men are men. You understand? But those who stand by and make it seem as if the F&M party was just trying to keep us under the feet of the masters, which was not true.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? Because if you listen to the true story, you would realize that they wanted independence, but they wanted to wait and form their own thing and get their own everything together where we were our owners of our things. Mm-hmm. Right now, we are not.
Mm-hmm.
And they rush ahead in desperation, and this is what we end up with 50 years later.
Wow. I appreciate your telephone call, my dear. You are always on point in terms of being able to put that stuff out there. I want to take this commercial break, but when we come back, I want to touch a little taste on this this concept and idea of Unicom. You remember Unicom? I got a call yesterday, which was on a holiday, which is wild, right? I got a call yesterday to talk about the idea of what type of show would be excellent to identify in the spirits and minds of the men and women who fought fresh out of college in 1973, 1972, with an idea for a progressive Bahamas, right? The direction that the country could be able to take it. Those men and women who chose to be able to move the country forward, absorbed into political organization that forged or formed the organization Unicom. Where are they now? Let's take the commercial break, guys, and get back to 96.9 and the Foundation right after this.
Foundation.
Introducing Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger. Chimichurri. That's how you pronounce it. Let it roll off your tongue. Then get ready for some ridiculously good flavor. Fresh, herby, garlicky, green, chimichurri. It'll feel like a relaxing backyard get-together with friends on a Sunday. Put in a burger. Come meet Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger with our new Dave's Craft Lemonade. Wendy's, different inside and out.
The Commonwealth of the Bahamas National Independence Secretariat presenting a calendar of events. On May 29th, the 50th on Bay Street Festival, Bay Street from 2 to 10 p.m. Tickets available at Alive Southwest Plaza and Mauler Marathon. On June 7th, the Milo Butler Community Dinner, Windsor Park, Wolf Road. It's free entry from 6 p.m. June 9th, the National Fashion and Art Show, Atlantis Paradise Island Resort. It's a ticketed event. On June 11th, the National Tea Party at Bahama. June 16th, National Rush Sip and Pace, Collins House. Entry is free, starting at 6 p.m. June 18th, Independence Boat Show, RR Key to Fort Montague. It's free entry starting at 3 p.m. On June 25th, One God, One People National Gospel Concert, venue to be determined starting at 7 p.m. For ticket information, call 604-1020 or visit www.celebrate-bahamas.com.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, chopping it down today. Beautiful here, live and in full effect. Before we dive into the rest of the show for these next few minutes, I just wanted to kind of let you know that we will be in Grand Bahama from June 5th to the 9th. If you want to participate in any way, please, por favor, give me a call, 827-0111, or shoot me a text. Don't fight me. Howard, you don't answer your phone. 827-0111, shoot me a text or WhatsApp, and I'll get back to you if you want to be able to participate or have one of the sales reps get to you for excellent packages for that particular week. Excellent packages. Trust me, I ain't lying to you. Get on the phone and give me a call, 827-0111. Let me read a couple of these texts before we get to it. It says, blessings indeed. You know, Howard, I've often said that the government of the Bahamas has the responsibility for its citizens when others really don't. Hence, the government must always be aware when negotiation and bargaining with the nation's goods and the people things that they can't just negotiate and give away the country's asset carte blanche. It says, just for the sake of certain advancements in the Bahamas. That's a text that's coming through. A next text that comes through, it says, Howard, great show again. Keep on keeping on, bro. Bless the name of the Lord. I was touched by your story. I've been through similar experiences, bro. I thank God for you on this show. There are so many believers on the good master, despite some may try to condemn our belief. This text is coming through. It says, afternoon, bro. Of all the countries that are younger than 55, the Bahamas is about 10 to 20 years behind all of them. Innovation, education, industry, and so forth. We are a failed state, or a state that is still ruled by the crown. Let me take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Yes, Howard Grant. How you doing?
I'm good.
Johnson.
What's up, Sealam?
Hey, hi. Yeah, you know, I heard 52, right?
Yeah.
Very strong statements, but that's called digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation of the civil service. It's going to take me a minute to go through that. But I want to touch on digitalization, digitalization, and digital transformation of the economy. What he said is so true, but it's intricate that it's going to take a little longer than what you have today. Mm-hmm. But on this concept of digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation of the economy is something that we began in 1968 with the establishment of a digital technology unit in the Office of the Prime Minister. 1968, Howard, 55 years now. We've been trying to digitize government. We don't have a paperless document yet. There's nothing we can do. But what is important, that's the government. But when you start talking about the economy, the government doesn't do that. The government sets legislation, policy, programs, and procedures in place. And the private sector does that. And so now you're talking about this generation of people. You know what I'm doing today? I'm wandering aimlessly around the streets of Freeport. Something that Generation Z, the millennials, Generation Z, and soon the Alpha generation, Generation Alpha, will find themselves doing in this country. Because there has been no adjustment for the 21st century environment. We're using the same antiquated banking methods. We are here screaming there's no banking on the old islands when we have a bank called the post office on every island that is yet to be digitized. We scream about Sand Dollar, which would put digital wallet in every person's hand and every business on the old islands where they don't have to run to the ATM. Okay, that's the central bank. No fees, no nothing, anything else. But yet you have members in Parliament saying, we don't know what we're going to do. We're going to subsidize government, going to subsidize banks opening up branches over there. And the world is digitizing itself. We have people still doing the same archaic type thing where access is done. We have them talking about Atlantis. We have them talk about RCI when fintech, regulatory tech, supervisory tech, property tech, TradeFi, all of these different things makes available billions, if not trillions of dollars that our very same foreign investors are using, but it's not accessible to the young people so they could go and find 200 people who's willing to, what they call, do an offset for them. So they could raise $1 million to go build a fourplex or a triplex for them to put as a short-term rental without any type of complications, using the same dare bill if it's modified properly. And so what you have is 20th century leaders, including the young ones, using 19th century concepts, trying to run a country in a 21st century environment. Artificial intelligence has accelerated the world. There's no industry that's going to be untouched except for artificial intelligence. But we are not having these type of conversations from any of our leaders. No F&M, no PLP, no call.
You know what, C. Allen, I'm listening to you. You start to talk about crowdfunding, you talk about digitalization, you talk about digital transformation, you start to talk about all these particular things. But the truth of the matter is this. If you talk to Aaron Kiki Knowles, let's be decent. Yes. Right. Talk to me. Let's be decent. And his introduction of this particular concept and the halting, the quick slam as it relates to digitalization.
I'm very familiar with Benchmark, and the total digitization that he began was literally 20 years ahead of his time when he began to digitize the government for them, and they then slam brakes on him and put both knees on his neck, the yellow and the red, and I don't know if they even paid him yet.
Okay.
Mind you, his lawyer sat as the Attorney General who was suing for him to get paid. And for 5 years, did nothing for him. I'm very familiar.
So the government, as you talk about this establishment of digitization, even from 1968, the fact of the matter is that the government is quite aware what needs to be done. When we hear 52 take on a position to talk about being able to identify and using certain technologies to identify persons right now and who we are in our society, this government of the Bahamas, this government, the mindset that exists in this particular space, cannot and will not do that. They will not. Because corruption is rampant.
But see, Howard, technology allows you to look real deep into the past and prepare for the future as well as the present.
But technology is accountability. And the accountability at the forefront is going to take money from my children going off to boarding school.
But see, Howard, this is where individuals like you, right? Now, imagine me, a 60-year-old guy. I am married to a first-year Gen Z. That means they're born in 1996, right? It requires people like you and her and others to now stand up and use the very tools you need integrated into the society to bring about the change. When people in your age group begin to see that you have the competence to understand it and the willingness to buy the expertise you lack to change and transform, the voting population in the next election is almost 65 to 70% millennials and Gen Zs. What happens is, though, you don't have to go into a party and say, I'm going to submit and change from the outside. No. You need to speak from the outside and let them galvanize around you, because we only need a few of you in Parliament with a political party is necessary to bring about the change.
I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't cut you. Thank you so much. I thought you were done. I appreciate that. Let me see if I can get the next telephone call. Caller, on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, Carly, on the line with us live.
A pleasant good evening, Mr. Grant.
Good afternoon, Sparky. How you doing?
Great and good, buddy. I'd like to say a big shout-out to the Bahamian people that I hope none of them had a horrific weekend, holiday weekend. I saw the Bahamians in crowds. I didn't get to go out in crowds on Bay Street enjoying themselves. Headed towards Labor Day and headed towards our 50th anniversary that we celebrated, although I failed the people. Mm-hmm. I hope we didn't have much child, what do we call it? I think we had 1 or 2 shootings together. I was praying that we didn't have that. You know, every weekend we got to have somebody getting shot. I would like to thank the Valley Boys for a special invite. You know, this is the year that the Valley Boys is celebrating their 65th year on Bay Street. And they had an invite for all the people in the group to thank them for the many years toiling on Bay Street. And in the group, the leader, Brian Aldi, invited everybody out. I got a special invite because of certain reasons. He gave me some tickets for free things, so, you know, I ended up having to walk home backwards. You know what I mean?
You're something else.
So congratulations to the Valley Boys. I'd like to also say congratulations to the Bahamians who seem to be trying to bring us back from Dorian and the COVID-19. They seem to be pushing hard. I am having problems to Howard with some of the attitudes of our rookie MPs. Although I'm a PLP, I see for some reason they don't seem to be paid much attention to their constituents, but I see a lot of them making great efforts in their ministries as far as performance is concerned. Again, I heard the word in your mouth a little while ago and other people calling in about this word corruption. I've been hearing that too much lately in my life now. But, you know, growing up, like I keep emphasizing, I'm 72. So I saw the changes from when we first came, from the PLP came in, to now.
So you don't agree with the word?
The word corruption.
You don't agree with it, Sparky? Because I didn't get too
I mean, to me, I have to agree with it.
Okay, then.
Because I see things that normally don't happen. I see people going in the House of Assembly and supposed to be making $28,000 a year. And all of a sudden, they build $250,000 and $500,000 homes in the Cable Beach, Old Fort Bay, Life and Hills, all over the place. I wonder how you do it, when you seem to be making more than your pay grade.
It's magic.
It's like, did you hit the lotto that nobody knew?
It's magic, Sparky. Now, Sparky, look at you. Going to have to hold on to the rest of this stuff here for the next show because I got to go. This is 60 seconds before we get out.
Congratulations to everybody out there, but let's continue to work hard and bring it back. The immigration thing, this got to stop, man.
I appreciate you, Sparky. Thank you so very kindly. Guys, that has been the show for the day. Before I go out of here, I want to be able to give a shout out to a very, an avid listener. He tell me how it is listening to the show every day. Whenever you're on, I'm listening, and I want to thank you none other than Reggie Miller. Reggie, it is good to talk with you, my brother. You're sitting down there in the southern part of the island, and got a call with him and sitting with Garth. So, now you say you can set the situation up. Make sure you put the fish on the grill. Call Howard. We can come down there and relax with you down there in the south. And then being able to do some stuff. God say he's the best mechanic on the island. If you dispute that, give me a call, 827-0111. Come on Small Business Thursday and talk how he's the best mechanic in the world. All right? Let's do that, guys. It was a wonderful show. I want to thank you so very kindly. And I thank you for being able to give me an ear for my bleeding heart. And it continues to be able to bleed for the desire to see the nation in a better position. I really do. I don't want to be able to this one layaway item that I do not want to be able to pick up in due time and due season is this concept and idea of hypocrisy and corruption. Let's just do that, right? We have to change this mindset of where we are to move towards growth and development and make some things happen. Tomorrow is Wednesday, guys. We're going to chop this thing down. It's a it's a panel discussion Wednesday. We're going to have some great people in the studio for you to kind of chop it down and get some things done. I thank you for participating. Thank you for being able to tune in. And we see you tomorrow, God spare, right here on The Foundation with Howard Grant. Stick and stay for Shivago Lang with Z Live right after this. Have a great day, guys.
Foundation. Foundation. foundation.
With over 25 years in business, nothing says commitment to our people, culture, and service like Rev. And this year is no different. We will continue to elevate your home experience for you to create and share memories for years to come, while keeping you connected to the people and things you love most. Our pledge to provide quality service each year remains true. Rev is made for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.